Hello and welcome to the Pop Culture Shark Show, a pop culture live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and joining us today is. Go ahead.
Oh, we have Junko.
Junko. Yeah, we'll get this figured out. We're not used to having a third person on here, so.
Honestly, I was just distracted. You said pop culture a lot there.
Yeah,
We're out of practice.
Yeah.
We're out of practice.
Yeah, it is Easter, so we're celebrating the Risen Savior today, but we thought we'd give there's a lot going on in pop culture this week. We're going to talk about the Star Wars news next week. But today we are talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie. I got to see it yesterday. I had a bad headache while watching it, and I was in a theater full of kids and a baby that cried every time Bowser was on screen.
That's amazing.
What a Chad Jack Black was.
And that, to me, the scariest part in the movie, and I can say it's because y'all seen the trailers. I think the dry bones were far scarier to Bowser, but that didn't seem to bother a baby. It was Bowser. Anytime Bowser was on the screen, this kid was freaking out.
So was it like a kid or was it a baby?
It sounded like a 3-year-old. It sounded like a little kid.
Okay. So it's not like infant.
Yeah, I didn't see him because big theater full of people, but yeah, sure. It was.
Yeah, I prescribe to the Tom Segura where he's like, if you go to the movies and you can't find a babysitter, then you don't get to go to the movies.
Well, there are some movie theaters. I don't know if the ones here locally do it. I know the ones in Kentucky used to, where they'd have parents' night out movies where you were encouraged to bring babies. It was a special showing like earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. But
yeah, yes.
But if you're going to the Friday 8:00 showing full of people and you're bringing a screaming baby, or I was looking on my soapbox, or you're going to see Scream 6 with your 5-year-old, you might want to rethink your priorities.
or maybe, as long as you know what you're taking your 5-year-old to, like I remember, people walking out of Deadpool with their kids because they're like, oh my gosh.
Hey, their 5-year-old is just a big Wes Craven fan.
Yeah,
that's what it is. He loves New Nightmare.
Yeah,
he loves Last House on the Left. Favorite movie of all time.
I just thought of we're not gonna get to see Wes Craven direct the Swamp Thing movie for James Gunn. Dang it.
Yeah. But I can understand a person who doesn't read review stuff get confused like with Sausage Party and think, oh, this is a Pixar movie, take their kids, and then realize, oh god, I made a horrible mistake. But with like a horror film, yeah, there's no reason to be taking your kids unless your kid is just a horror movie fanatic, and then
in which case, kudos.
Well, we might have other questions, concerns. So anyhow, enough. I'm gonna get off the soapbox. Okay, yes. So let's look at what the Mario movie has been doing box office wise, and that is the wrong button. Let's see. Let me share my screen. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to news, but it has broken all the animation records. It beat Frozen 2. It has made $377 million worldwide. Just crazy. The U.S. has already made $204 million in 5 days.
So I know that in terms of reviews, it's not doing as great. But do you think that Nintendo is concerned about that at this point? Like, it has done so well.
No, I don't think it cares.
I don't think they care, because if you read most of the reviews are very stupid. I mean, the ones that said there were some storytelling issues, I'm okay with that. The ones that were like, oh, their accents were offensive, or oh, why are they wearing white gloves, or oh, why is Bowser, I don't want to give away the movie plot, but
why is Bowser?
Yeah,
why is Bowser?
Yeah, and it's like, well, if you played some games, you would know that these are plots I've seen in the video game several times.
Do you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you remember this, but whenever The Dark Knight Rises came out, people thought that Christopher Nolan was speaking out against Mitt Romney because Bane was the bad guy, and they're like, "Oh, Bane Capital is the bad guy," and we're like, "No, that's the comic book character Bane."
Yeah, it's just clueless critics who
Yeah,
have never.
remember.
Go ahead.
Yeah, remember critics tore Bullet Train to shreds, so I don't trust them.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, this is I can't picture you taking a kid to this movie and the kid saying that this sucked. There's no way. Unless this
Right?
kid,
Yeah.
unless it's just like a Sega fanboy that just hates Nintendo. There's
like straight from the 90s.
In which case, in that case, also kudos.
I mean, this
they believe
is
in blast processing.
Yes. He's got a t-shirt like walking into the Mario movie. Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
So I've seen the movie. You all have not yet. So what I'm going to do
No.
is I'm going to do a brief review, spoiler free. I'd give this like a 3, maybe 3.5 stars out of 5. It's a good. That's not saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying it's a good movie. It's just not a perfect movie. I was wanting something more like the Lego movie or Spider-Verse, something where I could be, oh my gosh, you have to see this movie. And
do you
the
think
movie
this could lead to? Do you think this could lead to something like that?
You know, I don't know much about the writers that wrote this. I don't know if like this one their first films or what. Part of me wonders if Nintendo had such a death grip on this, they just could not do much with the plot.
that is a possibility.
Yeah, very likely.
But you know, it's very simplistic. Mario needs to go find Luigi. Princess Peach wants to stop Bowser from invading. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's kind of it.
I mean, that's the trailers.
Yeah, and so here that's one of my biggest complaints. The trailers basically showed you the first 2/3 of the movie. The last third is not in the trailers, which is pretty good. And I will say that the last third, I really enjoyed the last third. So I think this was extremely faithful to the source material. Like it was the source material. You know, I didn't leave the theater going, "Oh, I can't believe they race swapped Bowser." Oh, I can't believe they made.
I can't believe they made Bowser a freaking alligator.
Oh.
You know, but any other studio they would have made all kinds of crazy changes. You know, I can only imagine what current day Disney would have done with this movie.
They would make Luigi played by a Latino.
Yeah.
It would have been John Leguizamo.
Yeah. Oh, but you know, so I mean, the epicness of what you're watching, it's just it's incredibly epic. There are Easter eggs everywhere. Like I could not even catch them all. We were trying to name when we got back, after seeing the movie, we were trying to name them all, and I saw several the kids didn't see. The kids saw several I didn't see. So and they both loved the movie. Both my kids did. So yeah, I just think that if the movie had been like 15 minutes longer, and if they had maybe spent a little bit more time at the beginning setting up the characters, and there's a scene with Mario and Donkey Kong that I thought could have been a little bit longer to flesh that out. Just a couple of little things like that, you could have had a much better movie. But yeah, I thought it was good.
Cool. Well,
keep in mind, I had a severe headache while watching this, so that might be explain why I'm not like, oh, this was the greatest thing ever.
I definitely think that your initial viewing, I think your experience viewing the movie definitely takes it into account. Like, whenever it comes to like the Marvel movies, like I'm not one of those. I don't treat it like an event or like wrestling where people like cheer whenever Thor comes in and says, "Bring me Thanos!" Like, and that was happening during my Infinity War viewing, so I'm not down with that in that context. I went to go see John Wick 4 last week, and everyone's like cheering and reacting to cool things. And in a John Wick movie, there's something different about it, and so I have a good time with it. But yeah, I definitely think your environment definitely affects how you would enjoy a movie.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I definitely think if you like Nintendo, go see this movie. That's no question. You're keep in mind though, don't expect to be as like hilarious. There are funny jokes in it, but it's not like I think Spider-Verse is the perfect level of humor. It's just a very funny.
I mean, Spider-Verse is the perfect animated movie.
Yeah. So So yeah, don't. I'm just like I said, I don't want people listening to go, "Oh, I'm not going to see Mario now because he said it was just good." No, it's a good film. It just could have been better.
Yeah. If I could, Cameron and I, and this would actually be related to this. Cameron and I actually did see a movie that we may want to, review and talk about real quick.
Okay.
So we saw Tetris on Apple Plus.
Okay.
Which it's pretty good. I really enjoyed it, and I say it's pretty good. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I did not expect it to be as involved with the Cold War as it was.
I mean, the tagline for Tetris was originally "From Russia with Fun." So what'd you expect?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, and I didn't realize that Matthew Vaughn was as involved in it as he is. So it definitely kind of had a Kingsman feel to it too. But apparently, it's pretty accurate to what happened. And it's a lot of fun. Like, it's really heartwarming, but it's a lot of fun. I think we all enjoyed it. And the reason I say that it's related is because
it's a video game movie.
They make a really big deal about the Game Boy. Like it's like they have to get it from the vault. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's like the second coming of Christ, but if the second coming of Christ was a green monochrome screen,
right?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you all weren't alive back then, but we had like a handheld, kind of like the Tiger games, but not quite those little handheld like baseball games. It was shaped like a baseball diamond, and it would light up and that was your handheld video games. The idea of having a handheld Nintendo was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Closest thing you got was the Game and Watch, but it just wasn't the same.
Right.
I think there are two scenes that I think are really cool. I mean, like the whole movie is cool, but two things that really stuck out to me was whenever Hank, played by Taron Egerton, meets Alexei, who is the creator of Tetris, and he hadn't hammered out the actual rules yet. And so Hank is like, wait a second, why do they disappear one at a time? Why can't we have them all disappear four at a time? And Alexei's like, because I didn't think about that. And so right then and there, if you guys play Tetris, whenever you clear 4 rows at the same time, that is the Tetris. That's called a Tetris. And so right then and there, them together, they created the Tetris, which is really cool. And then whenever Hank goes to meet with Nintendo, they take him to the room. They show him the Game Boy. And he's like, well, they're like, what do you think? We could put Tetris on this. He's like, oh no, don't. What is this going to be packaged with? They're like, oh, we're going to package it with Super Mario Land. He's like, if you want to sell this to 100,000 kids in America, you sell it with Super Mario. But if you want to sell this to millions of families in the world, package it with Tetris. And that's why the Game Boy came with Tetris, because Hank sold them on it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we watched it with the family. We all loved it. It was phenomenal. Just a lot of fun. Keep in mind, I believe it is rated R. So
yes, it is.
So it is definitely One of those that like know what you're getting into before you take your kids. Maybe not take your kids.
You take your kids thinking, oh, it's gonna be about fun stacking blocks, and it's like, no, it's a Cold War thriller.
No, it's a Cold War thriller, and Russians like to say the F word. But there wasn't like any nudity or anything, which was nice.
Yeah.
But so as far as Nintendo property movies, they're 2 for 2. I know Tetris is a Nintendo property, but it kind of got its start on Nintendo. So as far as quote unquote Nintendo as far as Nintendo properties go, they're 2 for 2 this year.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly, you're going to see the floodgates open now that Mario made, almost 400 million this weekend. You're going to see all kinds of video game movies now.
Like Bubsy.
Can we just go ahead and acknowledge the movie that really got this started, though, that really revitalized? Can we just appreciate the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
Absolutely.
I thought you were about to say Wreck-It Ralph, and I was going to say,
that doesn't count.
No.
Story, but video games.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph is just Toy Story video games. No, Sonic the Hedgehog is a video game movie that came out. We all loved it, and it opened the floodgates for, oh wait, you can take a simple story and do something with it.
Actually, we all know it's actually the Warcraft movie.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not a Warcraft fan, so my opinion doesn't matter, but I thought it was fine. It wasn't great, but as a person who is not familiar with the lore at all, I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I have not seen it. I am familiar a little bit with the lore. It's been a long time. That game's old.
You're more of a StarCraft guy there, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I started out playing Warcraft 2 back in high school, so that's been over 20 years ago, Yeah. So,
you know what? I wonder if Arcane also had something to do with it.
Perhaps. Well,
we had Sonic, we have Arcane, and now Mario's making money.
Arcane came out a little later, so I wouldn't really put that like on the same impact of the Sonic movie.
This would almost be like if, let's say everybody knew of Mickey Mouse, but Mickey Mouse had never starred in a movie, and finally a Mickey Mouse movie came out. I mean, everybody just went to the theater because they're like, oh, we have to go see Mickey Mouse. That is what this movie is, because Mario is one of the most recognized characters in the world. Yeah. And there has not been a Nintendo movie since, Super Mario Brothers. Wreck-It Ralph sort of had characters.
There have been anime, but we're not counting. I think I think back in 2005 there was an Animal Crossing anime, but we didn't get a Western release for that. So for all intents and purposes, it has been and we're not counting the Pokemon movies.
Right.
Metroid and Zelda had mangas that
but nothing over here in the United States.
Kirby had an audio drama.
That's so funny.
Well, it's not like a drama. It's still like a fun kids thing, but
you make it. I just need like jazz music in the background and Kirby's inner monologue.
Oh no, it's actually really cute. It's actually really cute. I can send you guys like a clip of like an animation that uses the audio of it.
You know what? I did like Detective Pikachu though. I had a lot of fun with that one.
That's another one I think had a big impact.
Yeah,
was Detective Pikachu.
But so and I want to go ahead and just lay down some ground rules for what we're doing tonight, because at this point we're just talking about video game movies. Eventually we're getting into what we think the future of Nintendo properties on film will be. We're all in agreement that they're gonna all be animated, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I will say this: I've seen the movie. There are 2 end credit scenes, and the final one is a teaser for something
that's not Mario.
No, it is Mario related, but it's something else coming. Like there's going to be a sequel. Basically, what I'm saying.
Okay.
So yeah, there's definitely going to be more. I mean, if you couldn't tell with the box office, there would definitely be more. I watch a lot of WDW Pro, and he's been saying for a while that Zelda is in development, and he said that he's gotten rumors of what the next movies are, but he's trying to confirm those. So probably this week he'll release a lineup of what he believes the next films are going to be.
Okay.
So tonight, though, we're going to kind of predict where we would like to see it go. So Caleb has prepared a list.
Yes.
Um,
And keep in mind, I have not seen the movie, so
Right.
I don't know if this movie. I could be off on movie number 2.
Yeah, there are things that are in this movie that kind of set up the potential for other films, and I'm not
Okay.
gonna until you see it. That would be spoilers.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I have kind of left those things off my list.
I do have a question, and spoiler mode, but I'm just genuinely curious.
Okay, hold on. Let me put the spoiler thing across the bottom of the screen.
Please. Yes.
Okay.
So
Spoilers for about the next 60 seconds.
Are the people of Delfino in the movie?
No.
Okay.
If they are, I did not see them because there's several crowd shots.
Love that Sunshine has gotten in the past 20 years is a freaking like the Delfino Island. You could see it like a little bit of it in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the one guy who goes through video games and sees like how much these places are in debt? So he goes around and sees like who's working and who's a tourist, and hears how much Isle Delfino is in debt and what's the unemployment rate.
That's incredible.
I'll have to send it to you. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And here's the thing: he plays it totally straight. He plays it like he's a city auditor.
That's great.
But yeah, so I guess in this case, I will. So it's gonna be myself. I'm gonna go ahead and pitch my Marvel Cinematic Universe, my 3 phases of the Super Smash Brothers movies.
Okay.
After that, you are gonna completely wreck it and pick it apart and tell me what's immediately wrong with it, having not seen the movie.
Correct.
And then Cameron has actually 2 pitches for specific movies, being Kirby and Punch-Out, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna rein Caleb's expectations in of what I think we'll get now that I've seen the movie. So
sick. All right, so we have the Super Mario Brothers movie. So that is your Iron Man. All right. After that, I kind of want a Yoshi's Island movie to follow it. I don't know if it would be like a prequel or something because you got Baby Bowser as the bad guy, but essentially I would want the Yoshi's Island movie to be about the Koopalings taking over Yoshi's Island. And so like you have Ludwig and Iggy and Lemmy, Larry, Wendy, Roy, all of them, they're taking over Yoshi's Island, and that's kind of what the movie's about. And so that'll be the second movie. The third movie in this sort of Super Mario trilogy would be the Super Mario World. So the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie would be the Super Mario World movie. And it would be about Mario and Luigi going back to Yoshi's Island with Yoshi to kind of take it back from the Koopalings. And your main bad guy would be Ludwig. And I'd like there to be like a reference to the streamer Ludwig. I feel like that'd be really funny.
I don't know who the streamer Ludwig is, so yes, it would be hilarious.
It would be amazing. After that, what I have is something. So it's a Legend of Zelda movie. I call it Loot of Dimensions because I like it whenever there's like a musical instrument. And the reason I say dimensions is because how like Zelda games kind of have to like base their gimmick around the console.
Mm-hmm.
So like Breath of the Wild, which was obviously supposed to be a Wii U exclusive before they moved it to Switch, the Sheikah Slate is a Wii U gamepad, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And so then you've got like, in Phantom Hourglass, Link uses something that looks like a DS. And so whenever I say Loot of Dimensions, I'm like, what is a gimmick that you could do for Zelda in the movies? And I thought back to ye old Robert Rodriguez films. And he would go in between these two dimensions, like a light world and a dark world. And every time you go to the dark world, you got to put on your 3D glasses.
Ugh. I hate this.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I just know that I love Zelda, but I can fully admit that Zelda is pretty gimmicky too. So,
oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, for whatever reason, I'd be fine if Zelda just released a Zelda game, but they always have to slap something on there that is, oh, this time Link can turn flat and do this and da da da, and it's like, okay.
Oh, you know what? I've realized about Zelda though. So I've always loved your pitch for a Zelda game where it's like an old Link having to train a young Link.
Mm-hmm.
And all that, but then I realized that they've already done it, and it's called God of War 4.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was I think one of the Mario Luigi games is similar too, where they take care of the babies and do something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
after that would be the Kirby movie. And the Kirby movie, I would actually picture it kind of being like because for my idea, Kirby's kind of like the Captain America. Like, you know how like Kirby is the main. Yeah, Kirby is the main character of the Super Smash Brothers games. Like we can admit that, even though Sakurai would say otherwise. And that would lead into the Super Smash Brothers movie, which would be kind of like your basic Avengers. Master Hand is the bad guy, and you take him down, all that. And that would be phase 1. So phase 1 is those 6 movies. Phase 2 would begin with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And, it would take place in space. And essentially what phase 2 is going to be is it's going to be all like the sci-fi stuff. So after the Super Mario Galaxy movie, we'd move into the Metroid movie.
I don't think they'll do Metroid justice, but okay.
I don't know how you do Metroid justice, but I believe, here's the thing. Here's what I want. I want them to only speak in the Chozo language. That's what I want.
Sure. Yeah, that'll be great for the kids. They will love that.
Yes, absolutely.
Kids love subtitles. They
You know what? It's Easter, Passion of the Christ, subtitles, it all works out.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, we have the Metroid movie. Then we would move our way back to Zelda for the Sale of Dimensions, because I assume we have to make some sort of reference to Wind Waker and, involve a boat. I'll be honest, I really don't know what they can do with Zelda in movie form unless they just adapt Ocarina of Time. So, yeah. After that would be F-Zero. And F-Zero, I want it to be kind of like the Speed Racer movie. Like, I want there to be like car foo and crap. Like, I think it'd be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then Star Fox. And my pitch for Star Fox is I want Miles Teller to play Fox McCloud, with James McCloud being played by Tom Cruise.
Okay.
I want them to go heavy on the Top Gun references. And after Star Fox, that would actually lead into them finding Final Destination. And that's whenever Bowser returns. This is Bowser's return, is in the Super Smash Brothers Final Destination.
Okay. All right.
And here's the thing. I'm sure I'm wrong, because I'm sure Bowser comes back immediately. Like,
I can't spoil the movie, so
yeah, I'm sure Bowser comes back immediately. I'm pretty sure I'm putting off I'm putting off Bowser for way too long for Nintendo. But yeah, this is when Bowser returns, and they defeat Bowser. But then at the end of the movie, that's whenever Taboo from the Subspace Emissary comes in, and he turns all of the Super Smash Brothers into trophies. like Infinity War style, and that's how you would. What's up?
So your original Smash Brothers movie, are you doing that it's a kid playing in his toy box, or are you doing that this is actually them meeting up? Because the original plot of Smash Brothers is a kid playing his toy box with Master Hand being the kid's hand playing with the toys.
So the Master Hand in my idea is not a kid in the toy box. This is actually them fighting. For me, Master Hand is like the sentient hand of Taboo. And that's just, you know, in my idea, that's what it is.
So who is Taboo then?
The bad guy. He is Thanos.
well, why is he the bad guy then? You just said that Taboo, that Master Hand is the hand of the villain. So who is the villain? It's like he's
Taboo.
the villain.
Taboo is the villain. Yes.
Why is he the villain though? Because
well,
he's the villain?
and in my idea, it would actually be Taboo who gives Bowser the powers of Giga Bowser, and he turned into a giant Bowser and everything. But at the end of the second Smash Brothers movie, Infinity War style, Taboo turns everyone into trophies. Okay. And that's how you end it. Phase 3 opens up in just a suburban neighborhood with a little kid named Ness. Which I honestly think that going from like Infinity War to a kid like just like in a coming of age kids movie, there's a really cool juxtaposition there.
And then at the very end, freaking nightmares.
So yes, and it would end with like nightmares. And so essentially, what would happen is, they go through the Earthbound story, and then Kirby would appear, and Kirby was not turned into a trophy, and he recruits Ness. After that would be the Donkey Kong Country movie. Donkey Kong did not join in the Super Smash Brothers, and he is just there with Diddy Kong,
played by Jonah Hill.
Yes. If Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, then Jonah Hill is Diddy Kong. That is non-negotiable. But then they would like fight King K. Rool and go through the Donkey Kong Country story, and then of course Avenger style, Kirby would appear and recruit Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. Then we have Pokemon Indigo. Now I'm kind of proud of the name Pokemon Indigo because if you guys are familiar with Red and Blue, you put Red and Blue together, you get Indigo. But also in the Pokemon anime, the Kanto was called the Indigo League, so it works on both levels. So Pokemon Indigo, and it stars character Red, and he gets his. And here's the thing: in my Pokemon movie, Pikachu is not a special character or anything. He's not even the starter. He can be on the team, but the starter for Red is Charmander. And the rival, Blue, gets Squirtle. And then the love interest, Green, gets Bulbasaur. We're going to be very simple with this. But yeah, and then you just go through the gym battles and everything, and a very simple story. And then of course Kirby comes in and recruits Red and his champion Pokemon team. After that, we get Kid Icarus. So we get a Kid Icarus movie about Pitt trying to ascend, and so I would assume it's like very simple, kind of like a Finding Nemo, where he's flying around and then he gets knocked away and he gets trapped in the underworld. And so it's about him just trying to rise up and escape the underworld, and then get to Palutena, and then after that, Palutena would say, "Hey, I have a friend that needs your help," and then of course Kirby comes in, recruits Pit to the new Smash Brothers, and then finally we get one final Kirby movie, Kirby: The Amazing Mirror, and with that. It would it would be kind of the Amazing Mirror story, like on the Game Boy Advance, but it would lead into the Super Smash Brothers Subspace movie, which would kind of be your Avengers Endgame of them having to go around and free the Smash Brothers from their trophy prisons so they can eventually defeat Taboo. And I want to do the scene from Super Smash Brothers Brawl in the Subspace Emissary, where everyone is free, and then Taboo is about to do the wing move where he turns everyone to trophies again, and then out of nowhere, and having no context for the story, Sonic comes out of nowhere and destroys his wings, and then leaves. Because that is what that's what happens in the Smash Brothers game. Is he breaks Taboo's wings right before he's about to win. And that's it.
I think that he should be crashing the main character's or sister-in-law's wedding, and then he falls through a ring and smashes into Taboo, and then falls back into the wedding. And then...
Yes, yes. Man, Sonic 2 was so much better than the first one. I think we can all agree on that too.
Absolutely.
What? All right.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. So we'll talk about that later.
So that is my uninformed and inaccurate 3-phase pitch for a Nintendo Super Smash Bros. Cinematic Universe. How much did I get wrong?
So if you want to see these movies, please send Caleb $1 billion and he will make these, because I don't think you're going to see much of what Caleb described.
I'm not going to see any of that.
Yeah. So, Caleb was wanting, let me see if I can find a picture of it real quick. Caleb's expecting, oh, shoot, I got to be things open.
I'm not saying I'm expecting it. This is just,
Caleb expecting that in 4 movies, we're going to be, Smash Brothers and just going for it. I cannot see them doing Smash Brothers until like movie 10 or way down the road.
Yeah, Smash Bros. Would just be like a fun thing.
Yeah, I don't see them. I don't see them doing
DCEU it by jumping into the crossover too quickly.
I don't want it where it is you have to see every Nintendo movie for it to make sense.
Sure. I agree, actually.
So I think probably what you're going to get is something more like this. Like they're going to focus on probably these characters first. Your initial Smash Brothers lineup. So you might get like a Donkey Kong Country movie. You'll definitely get a Zelda movie. You'll definitely get a Mario 2 and a Metroid. And then from there you kind of branch out. You do your Star Fox and your Kirby. I would love to see an Earthbound movie. I think that's a tough sell for them. It's very popular in Japan. I don't know if Nintendo knows how popular it is in America. I mean, they can see the virtual console sales of Earthbound, but it's just never gotten over.
I'm gonna go ahead and if we're bringing my expectations down to realism, I'm gonna bring your expectations down to
Go
realism.
ahead.
The popularity of Earthbound in America is non-existent.
I disagree, but you can live in that world if you want. There is
No. Whenever I say non-existent, I'm talking about like people know Mario, people know Luigi, people know Link, they know Legend of Zelda, people even know Star Fox and Metroid. But if they look at NES and then if you talk to someone and you say Earthbound, I don't think they know what you're talking about.
No,
Yeah,
the
they'll look
person
at-
on the
they'll-
street, does not know what Earthbound is. But if you played Smash Brothers, which
Sure.
if you own a Nintendo console, you probably have played Smash Brothers, then you know who Ness is.
For the
Sure.
Smash Brothers movie, make Captain Falcon and Ness the main characters because they're not going to get their own movies.
So that was something I wanted to bring up. But
F-Zero hasn't gotten a game in 20 years. We're not going to get a movie.
Before we get to that, I'm gonna say I don't see a Pokemon movie coming out of this. Now, maybe when we get to, if they do a Smash Brothers, I could see them saying, "Oh, here's Pikachu," but I think Pokemon is its own separate thing. They'll continue doing Detective Pikachu movies and whatever, but it's not going to be part of this Nintendo Cinematic Universe. That is my prediction.
So that was actually one of my questions, because whenever I made the Pokemon Indigo, I'm like, I'm doing this because I feel like Pikachu's a mainstay in Smash Brothers. I don't know if they'll make a Pokemon movie not related to. I was gonna say not related to Ash in the gang, but Ash isn't even a character anymore.
So here's the other weird thing. There are references to other Nintendo games in this movie. I won't give them away here, but it's like Mario is aware of these other properties. So
I have to just go on a limb and if Mario doesn't know who Little Mac is, I mean they're in Brooklyn.
Okay, yeah. So we'll take. I'm not saying they're in the movie, but let's take Little Mac as a. Well, no, Little Mac's not a good example. But let's say, and this is not as far as I know in the movie. Let's say that Mario had a Metroid poster in his room. He does not. But let's say he did, and then he did a Metroid movie, and then Mario met up with Samus. It would be weird. It'd be like, oh, it's that guy or that girl from that video game I play. It wouldn't make much sense. So I'm not sure if we'll ever. The Smash Brothers movie. We all want to see it, but I don't know how realistic it is.
Well,
Sure.
Kirby is from a post-apocalyptic Earth, just like every Nintendo property.
Yeah, and there is a point where in the movie where Peach mentions that there are multiple galaxies out there, so they are kind of alluding that there are other worlds out there.
So she says the word galaxy.
I'm pretty sure that's what the word she used. Yeah.
So we're getting Mario Galaxy confirmed right here. You heard it here first, folks.
I will say Mario Galaxy. It's much more likely than an Earthbound film. You have the Luma in the movie. Those are the trailers. The one that's all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
That's your only reference to Mario Galaxy. But I think that's potentially there. I won't say for sure. There is one game in particular that I'm not going to mention that I think is likely that we will get. Oh, I want to say this, but I don't want to say. Well, here I'm gonna put the spoiler thing on, and I'm just gonna blurt these two out. If you two want to cover your ears, you're welcome to.
You know what? This is my show too. Go ahead and say it.
I mean, in the Mario movie, I've heard it's pretty simple, so I don't think I'm going to be that mad being spoiled.
There are references to these two properties in the movie that these exist in this world. So I think a Wrecking Crew movie is likely.
Okay.
Or I would like to see a Wrecking Crew movie.
Or maybe a show.
And Punch Out.
Okay, so Little Mac there's a reference to Little Mac at some point.
Yes. I won't say how or where, but there are references to Little Mac. There's also references to other obscure NES games that I don't think will ever get a movie.
So I think out of the two, I definitely think Punch Out is more realistic than Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, and I think if some of the critics were upset by Mario accents, Italian accents, wait till they see Punch Out.
Oh my gosh, Soda Popinski. Here we go.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yes, we have Soda Popinski. We have Piston Honda. Who else is offensive? What the tiger guy with the turban?
Yeah. So I don't know if we will. I'm sure eventually there will be a Smash Brothers movie. eventually, but I it's going to be a while. I think that what I would like to see, and I don't know what this is a Captain N type movie. So if you don't remember what Captain N was, it was a cartoon show in the 90s where a kid got sucked into his Nintendo.
Ugh.
And he met different characters, but he would travel to different Nintendo worlds. So I don't think you're ever going to get a what's it called, balloon fighter movie, but you could have some type of character exploring these different Nintendo worlds.
You know, what would be awesome is if Captain N went into like the Castlevania universe from the Netflix show, and he just runs into Trevor. But the thing is, he's an alcoholic, but the thing is, it's a completely different animation style.
Yeah, he's clearly not part of that world.
Will there be a
hold on, you know what? Hold on. We were earlier. We were talking about like what were like the predecessors, the pioneers for this video game renaissance that we're about to enter. Castlevania is definitely on that list too.
Oh yeah. So I don't think it'll be Captain N. I was trying to look up who owned Captain N. This was several different video game companies being pulled together. The cartoon studio was DIC or Dick, the very popular internet meme. If you've ever seen those videos, they're very funny. But they're now called Wild Brain or something. I was looking it up, so I think they still. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
They said our name isn't bad enough. We got to change it to something worse.
Hold on. Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be Captain N. It could be like Rob the Robot or something that's exploring these other worlds.
So I definitely think Rob the Robot I think so. The problem with Captain N is there are several different N words.
Whoa.
Well.
Right. And you wouldn't want to put that in people's heads. You know what I mean?
It's quite the game master, this Captain N is.
So what I would like to see, because this movie was less than 90 minutes long, it's a short film. If they're going to continue to be that length, then you might as well put like little 15-minute shorts in front of it of games that cannot, be 2 hours.
That's the Pixar way.
Like a little 15-minute Pikmin short. Do you need a 2-hour Pikmin movie? No, probably not. So, just something, here's this character. We're just going to introduce him to you. And this is fun. And then we're out, So like Wrecking Crew. Wrecking Crew probably doesn't need a 2-hour movie. But that could be like a little fun little 15-minute short, So, yeah. So those were some of the ideas I had. I think you're going to have several movies before you ever see a Smash Brothers type scenario. All right. So what we're going to do next is Chunko had some ideas for what he would like to see in some Nintendo movies. So we're going to run through those real quick, and then we'll wrap up the show.
All right. So I'll just start with the Punch-Out movie because it's not as fully realized as the Kirby movie.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. I think we've established this before. My brother is like the biggest Kirby fan, and he's gonna get really weird into the lore with his pitch.
I wouldn't say it will get really weird with the lore, but I think this would be a pretty straightforward adaptation.
Okay,
so with a few differences.
But let's start with Punch-Out.
All right, so Punch-Out, I think it'll be more inspired by. Have you seen the anime Hajime no Ippo?
No.
It's a boxing anime.
Okay.
It's pretty popular. The latest Creed movie, Creed 3, is actually take a lot of inspiration from several boxing animes. So I kind of want to have that sort of style, maybe a bit more of a Spider-Verse maybe Puss in Boots 2 more like more of that style where it's like very fast paced.
I love how Puss in Boots 2 is on the level of Spider-Verse, and that's universally accepted.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Absolutely. Well, that's the DreamWorks 2, the DreamWorks second movie thing. The second movie is always the best.
That's
Shrek
true.
2, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Kung Fu Panda 2, now Puss in Boots 2. If Megamind has a sequel, whoo,
Be amazing.
yeah, movie of the year, movie of the decade.
So I would say a Punch-Out movie in my head would definitely work. Like I'm picturing like a good like Rocky type film of know him just rising up through the ranks and
there would be definitely be several fights.
Yeah,
it's not just a Rocky versus it's not Rocky versus Apollo. Rocky has to make his way to Apollo first.
Yeah, it's gonna be more sports than drama. It's gonna be more of a Rocky 4 than a Rocky 1,
Sure.
So our first fight would be, of course, Glass Joe. We have to have Glass Joe.
Sure.
Just to start things off. I'm not sure who I would have him be played by.
Well, who's Little Mac?
That's a good question. Like maybe someone. I want someone with a bit more like energy and baritone. So maybe like Andy Samberg or something.
Joe Rogan.
Andy Samberg's not bad. That's not bad because Little Mac is a kid in a way, because he's 17.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to be like a Michael Cera. You still want him to have kind of an imposing voice.
Well, Michael Cera can have an imposing voice, but not like in a heroic way.
Sure.
I think that Jim Brewer should play Glass Joe.
A Jim Brewer? Who does he play?
He was Goat Boy back on Saturday Night Live a while back. He was in Half Baked. Let's see. Let me find a picture of him. Hold on.
I am familiar with him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. Hold on one second. I'm having internet issues because that's how it goes.
Internet connectivity problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jim Brewer, who hasn't been anything in a while.
Better check to see whether or not he's been canceled or not.
Oh, I don't care if people get canceled. I don't play those games.
Well, listen. Fan castings of
he's clean.
Hypothetical movies. Fan castings of hypothetical movies is like playing Russian roulette, where where there's only one. There's like 5 bullets in the chamber. You're gonna lose because it's Hollywood.
Sure. But I
just don't care.
I would use the Captain America technology on him to make him like the scrawny. It's
animated. It's
well, that's true. That's true. It is animated. Okay, then forget. I'm thinking of physical appearances. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking
he does kind of. He does kind of look like Glass Joe. I'll give you that. That's funny.
I see it.
Yeah. All right.
All right. And my second villain, my second fight would be King Hippo. That's where things really start to get serious, and I would have King Hippo be played by Jason Momoa.
I think it's pretty funny.
I think he would do it well. I would think he would actually make King Hippo a bit more intimidating, while really still funny, fun.
Possibly. All right. I think that King Hippo is your, he's the character in the trailers. That's the character that grab people's attention. I've always loved King Hippo. So
I would say, I think we can all agree that of the fighters, King Hippo is probably the most popular, like the most well-known.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's practically the mascot, besides Little Mac.
He'd definitely be in the trailers. So I think given someone like Momoa, I think you want a big name.
He can camp it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude played Aquaman. Of course he knows camp.
Yeah.
All right, so who do we have after King Hippo?
Now this is where it gets dicey. Now for the penultimate fight, I'm either thinking for three boxers: Soa Pabimski, Piston Honda, or Bald Bull.
So you're going to be offensive either way.
Well, I think for this movie, you're going to have a montage sequence where he's just fighting a bunch of different boxers,
Well, of course.
Sure.
and
Yeah.
you're not even going to have to worry about voices or So that's where you can slip in some of these characters that might be problematic.
Sure. I mean, I already know who I'd want to play Soda Popinski.
Soda Popinski is probably
just get Paul Giamatti and use his right. I am the Rhino.
Yeah, just go full parody of.
I don't want it to be
Ivan Drago.
Yeah, I don't want it to be a good Russian accent. I want it to be a bad Russian accent.
Just don't give a crap.
Yeah. So for me personally, of those three, no, you know what? I would actually prefer Bald Bull because Bald Bull actually has my favorite quote from Punch Out.
What's that?
My barber didn't know when to quit. Do you?
Well, you could fit that with Soa Pabimski as well.
No, that is Bald Bull. We're not doing that. No, that is a Bald Bull.
Hey, the Harry Potter writers took Ron Weasley lines and gave it to Hermione. We can do that. We can take Bald Bull lines and give it to Soda.
He's not wrong.
So I think
we're Hollywood writers. We're immediately hacks. So
he's right. We have to be in the minds of Hollywood writers. We have to be in the.
I know he's getting older, this actor, but I think he would be great as Doc. Reginald Vell Johnson, the dad from Family Matters.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Isn't that Shredder?
No. That was Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of
Bel-Air. Unfortunately, he has passed on.
Oh yeah.
Was his last thing Turtles Forever?
Was he in Turtles Forever?
Of course he was.
I thought he was in Turtles Forever.
I'll look that up while y'all keep talking about Punch Out.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's your big bag? Because obviously you can't use Mike Tyson. So.
Here's the thing. We're gonna tease Mike Tyson at the end.
No. That's not. Okay, so you can't use Mike Tyson. So here's the thing. You pitch the rest of the movie and I will pitch the post-credit scene, okay?
All right. So I'm I think my dream villain for Punch Out is Super Macho Man, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I actually could see that. Yeah.
So we actually full homage to the his heel persona from WWE.
There is a problem with that.
There's a big problem with that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Caleb.
So the problem with that, and Cameron knows the problem. In The Rock's contracts for every film he signs, he is not allowed to lose a fight.
Which actually could work because Rocky does not win at the end of Rocky. So
that could work, yeah. But
it could work out.
But then you're talking about sequels,
You could be more inclined because it is make it even more of an homage to The Rock, his heel persona. I think he might be a bit more inclined for that because it's still he's still feeling himself. He lost, but it's a full-on homage to me, so it's okay.
So here's the thing. I still don't think he would do it. Do you have a backup?
Well, of course, Mr. Sandman.
Who would play Mr. Sandman?
Mr. Sandman. No, that's a good question.
Jonathan Majors.
Well, speaking of canceled, I'm thinking of someone from what was the name of that show? Sopranos. Someone with a real thick, accent. Just as your boxer. I don't know.
Keith David.
Keith David.
Oh my
No,
God.
okay. So
Here's the thing. I already have Keith David as casting for the Kirby movie.
which is amazing, and I want to hear it. So here's the thing: I've actually heard some of this Punch Out one, but I've heard nothing about the Kirby one, so I'm excited to hear it. I think that Sandman, played by Michael B. Jordan, just he is Adonis Creed, but let him play the bad guy in this. I think that'd be super fun.
I can see that. All right, so let's
if Adonis Creed was Killmonger.
Yes. All right, yes. So let's oh, and the post-credit scene, Mario would be the ref the whole movie. And then he'd be like, "Hey, you're the champ of the world. You want to be the champ of the universe?" And then it cuts to Little Mac about to box Donkey Kong.
Yeah, they could actually have him box Donkey Kong. That's all I'll say. All right. I'm gonna derail this whole show. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
So I looked up who voiced the Shredder during Turtles Forever, and this has to be a made up name. This cannot be this person's name. Yeah.
Load Williams.
That has got to be like a pseudonym. Like,
yeah, I assume just one of the other characters or one of the other actors just did it, and it just like, oh, here we just credit me as something weird because they're
in a way to not piss off the unions.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's something fun. I just Googled Load Williams.
Why did you Google that? Go ahead.
3 results.
Okay.
Only 3 results. No, and they're all related to the Turtles Forever, but only 3 results. I didn't know that was possible on Google.
Oh yeah. Wait to get no results. That happens to be a lot on Google. So, anyhow, Load Williams. Yeah, that has to be like an Alan Smithy or one of those fake names you see in credits. So,
or if you, I don't know if you guys remember the Castlevania 2 Fred Fuchs.
Yeah.
Fox.
Whoa, hey.
Hey,
Oh,
Camp,
yeah.
hey, Chunko.
Oh, yeah.
Chunko. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. That's our one allowed word there.
Fuchs. Yes, Fuchs.
That's why, it's pronounced Fuchs.
Fuchs. All right, so let's get to our final presentation here. Chunko, what's your presentation for the Kirby film?
All right, so the Kirby film would be a straight up adaptation of Kirby Superstar. You've played Kirby Superstar, right?
I don't play Kirby games, so I don't know if I've played that one or not. There's a couple I've played here and there, but I'm not really big into Kirby. So,
okay, so Kirby Superstar is basically like a collection of the of various like mini Kirby games. The first of which is actually a remake of Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy. Actually, like, let me just try to see if I can get like a picture of like the game select to show you how what I'm talking about. Let me just show you.
Oh, you know what? I have played this. So there's like a golf game or something.
Right? No.
Okay.
I think you're thinking of a different Kirby game. I forgot what it's called. Let me just look up the game select.
All right, I've got an image of it. Hold on, I can pull it up.
All
right. Okay, so go ahead and start talking about that while I'm pulling this up.
All right, so in my adaptation, I would actually like cut the like from what I've heard about the Mario movie, there's a bunch of set pieces that are like homages to other Mario movies, correct?
Yeah, there is a montage where they're walking to the Kong Kingdom, and so you see like a level from Mario Odyssey. You see like the Yoshis running by, that sort of thing. So
all right. So with my Kirby movie, this will be an origin story of Kirby, but The difference I'm going to make is that the main focal character will not be Kirby.
Okay.
Because Kirby's Kirby. It's not. I wouldn't necessarily call him the most like interesting protagonist. I would actually put the perspective of the Kirby Superstar movie to Marx, who is the main villain of Kirby Superstar. You remember that like clown guy from Smash Ultimate?
Yes.
Yeah, that will be the main character.
Okay.
And the movie will start with Spring Breeze, which is Kirby's dreamland. He'll start off, explaining that Dreamland is like, a wonderful place, yada yada. But King Deity has stolen all the food and is being really oppressive to the people of Dreamland.
Mm-hmm.
And Marx, he's too weak and afraid to actually, stand up to Deity, and he's also pretty lonely. So on one night, he looks up to a shooting star and decides to make a wish. He says, "I wish I had a friend." And that shooting star gets closer and closer and closer, and then it hits Marx in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And as it turns out, the star is Kirby. So the events of Kirby's Return to Dreamland happen, but I also am going to mix it up with Gourmet Race. So Kirby has his fight with Deity, on the arena. Kirby beats him, and then have a chase similar to Gourmet Race, and it'll play the Gourmet Race theme. You see it from Smash Brothers, and it's all well and fine. Hooray! Kirby saved the day, and Marx has a new friend. And then in the next part of the movie will be Revenge of Meta Knight. I'm gonna mix Revenge of Meta Knight, Great Cave Offensive, and Dynablade together.
Okay.
Now, Meta Knight, who's fed up with the cowardice and laziness of Dreamland, due to the events of Spring Breeze, has decided, all right, I'm gonna kick into high gear and make sure that that the people of Dreamland are like, yeah, we need to be tougher. Also, for the casting of, I forgot to tell you about the casting. The casting of Marx will be played by Michael Cera.
Okay.
So imagine Michael Cera just being like a whimpering clown boy.
Okay.
And I don't have any casting for King Deity yet. I haven't really thought about that.
The guy who plays Tony Soprano.
Sure.
Did he die?
I don't know.
Yes, he did.
You know what? We'll get Lode Williams.
Tom Segura.
We'll get Lode Williams. Yeah.
Get Tom Segura to play King Deity.
Okay. There's only one person that I want you to say for Meta Knight, and if you get it wrong, I'm gonna blow a gasket.
The person who will play Meta Knight is Keith David.
No, oh, that's not who I wanted. Dang it!
But it's not bad.
I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Antonio Banderas because I like my Meta Knight to be Hispanic.
I'm not too big on the Spanish Meta Knight.
I love Spanish Meta Knight.
It's a little too silly. Because I think part of the fun of Meta Knight is that he's this dark, serious sounding like knight. But when you unmask him, he's like the cutest little thing.
Sure.
But he still sounds like Meta Knight.
Sure. So Keith David.
All right. So Meta Knight in his airship, starts attacking Dreamland, and it's up to Kirby and Marx to save the day. But throughout the adventure, Marx starts to fall behind. He starts to feel a bit like he's not up to par. At first they were having trouble reaching Mennonites' defenses on the airship. So they asked the Dynablade to help out. And at first it works out, but eventually they get kicked out of the ship again. So they decided to do a understrike through the Great Cave Offensive. And throughout the Great Cave Offensive, Kirby's like going through the cave like no problem. Like Giga Chad Kirby. What a hero. But Marx is just like, I'm terrified. I'm clumsy. I can't do anything. This is the worst. But eventually they do make it to Mennonite's ship one last time. But this time, Marx is the one that actually makes it to Mennonite first. And he's the one that at first duels Mennonite and gets absolutely like beat up. He's no match for Mennonite. And Mennonite tells him that, yeah, you're too weak. You're nothing. You need like you're like if this is what Dreamland like heroes have to offer, then yeah, you're nothing. And that really breaks Marx. But eventually Kirby does come in and does beat Mennonite and destroys the ship. And then Marx and Kirby, get out of the ship together. But throughout that whole time, he was just thinking, if only I was as strong as Kirby, I would have been the hero. If only I was as strong as Kirby, I could be like the best. And that just sort of that poison in his head just starts seeping in more and more and more. But he already blew his wish on getting Kirby. So what is there to do? But you could just manipulate getting another wish. Suddenly, the sun and moon started fighting, and the events of Milky Way wishes happens. In order to get the sun and moon to stop fighting, they have to summon I forgot the name of it. Let me look it up real quick. The name of this of the wishing star eludes me. Or if its name is
The Wishing Star.
Yeah, the wishing star. Galactic Nova. So he discovers so the sun and moon start fighting, and Marx discovers there's Marx tells Kirby hey, there's a way to wish the sun and moon to stop fighting. We need to summon the Galactic Nova. It's up to you, Kirby, to do it. You can do this, Kirby. And they go on another adventure to collect all the pieces of the Star Rod in order to summon Galactic Nova. And eventually they do. But right before Kirby makes his wish, Marx is like, I wish for ultimate power. I wish to be the strongest in the galaxy. And as it turns out, he reveals to Kirby that, yeah, I was the one that tricked the sun and moon to start fighting. So that way you can collect the star rods. Because I need to be the strongest. I'm sick of you always stealing my thunder. And it's a bit of a tragic thing, how Marx was originally like this, fun little goober, but then becomes the villain of the movie. So in the end, Kirby and Marx fight, and unfortunately, Marx is defeated, and the Galactic Nova is destroyed. Kirby chucks chucks Marx onto the Galactic Nova, and both of them perish. and did not end on a sad note. It'll end on like a little montage of some future Kirby adventures, were a bit more fun, such as I don't know, Squeak Squad and Squeak Squad. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what are some games that are like definitely not going to get adapted to movies. I'm thinking Squeak Squad.
I have no idea.
So yeah, like I said, he's a big Kirby fan, and he went deep into the lore.
But also I just wanted to make it like sort of like you go into Kirby thinking, oh, it's like a fun thing, and it's gonna be a fun thing, but it's also gonna tear your heartstring, like pluck your heartstrings, because it's like, oh no, the main character has like
Cameron, you just pitched Chronicle.
So well, I'll say this: what he just said is my issue with the Mario movie. That it comes close to having these emotional beats, and it doesn't go far enough. It's like right there. If you just extended the scene 5 minutes or did this or that, the movie could have that emotional resonance. It needs to be a great film.
Okay.
All right. One quick question about Kirby, then we got to wrap this up.
sure thing.
Will he be a hardcore Christian like he is on Terminal Montage?
Absolutely.
Well, only once he has communion.
Okay.
Yes.
Then he can turn into Jesus Kirby.
Okay. I don't know about going that far, but that is a pretty good joke.
Well, that's the origin of Christian Kirby, is like a debate on Tumblr where it's like, okay, so if Kirby goes to a Catholic church and takes communion, would he turn into Jesus?
Because
I got
Catholic,
it.
yeah.
I got it. It's his body, his blood. I got it.
Yeah.
All right. So on that Easter note,
Yes.
let's
This
wrap
really
this
is
show
an
up.
Easter special.
Yes, it was. We spent an hour and a half getting to that joke right there.
Yes.
So next week there was a lot of Star Wars news, Star Wars Celebration this weekend. So we'll be tackling all that next week. Some new movies were announced that will probably never come out. Some new TV shows were announced where some of those will probably come out, and we're going to talk about all that next week.
It's going to be very interesting because it's going to be another episode of The Optimist and the Pessimist.
Yes, because one of us has basically checked out of Star Wars at this point. So we will see how that goes. And the person who has checked out, they're introducing one of his favorite characters or reintroducing him. So we'll see.
Do you like? Because I love the actor and I think he did great. Whenever he got the role the first time, do you like the choice?
We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
So if you want to find all that out, tune in next week. We should be here again, 6:00 Eastern. Like the stream, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But until then, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
I've been Chunko.
And this has been Pop Culture Shark. We'll see you next week.
See ya.